For 3 decades, Carl's been catching shellfish off the coast of Bridlington. It's known as the lobster capital of Europe, and Europe is capitalising on it. Carl's team are far from the only ones working out here. Bigger European trawlers are also allowed to fish in these lucrative waters, leaving smaller local boats feeling squeezed.
I've never understood the government's policy on things when we're an island nation. They don't celebrate what we do. We're putting food on the table, low carbon footprint. It should be pushed harder and harder. And the public should see as a national treasure, really, of what we can do.
So you feel underappreciated?
100%, yeah, 100%. You can talk to any fisherman about that. One thing I remember someone saying once is, fishermen will walk down with a pier with their head down. When they shouldn't be, they should be walking down with their head held high.
Fishing was once held up as an example by Leave campaigners, including Nigel Farage, of what Britain stood to gain by quitting the European Union. The reality, in the eyes of fishermen like Carl, is post-Brexit betrayal. And now a familiar battle line could be about to be redrawn, ahead of a summit in London next week aimed at resetting the UK's relationship with the EU.
A Brexit trade deal signed by Boris Johnson gives EU fishing boats access to UK waters until June 2026. Securing access beyond next summer is understood to be a key priority for Brussels at the upcoming summit, in return for any defence pact sought by Sir Keir Starmer.
The UK government insists no final agreement has been reached and that it'll work to secure the best outcome for the British fishing industry, an industry watching closely in pursuit of a better deal.
The EU has already opened the door to that revision. They've said that they don't like the term they agreed in 2020 that said that after this first 5-year period, they'll have to negotiate every year to get access to British waters. They want to change that. They want a longer-term deal on access. If that's contemplated by our government, then I want them to get something in return for that.
So you want them to pay?
We want them to pay for the thing that they want. That's how businesses operate. They've had a good crack of the whip for 50 years.
Similar sentiments are shared by the Scottish fishing industry. Across the North Sea, though, European politicians view things differently.
Well, it's very clear that our fishermen already paid a very high price for the Brexit, because they lost already 25% of their quota, and that's a very high price. So from our perspective, it is clear that further restrictions cannot be accepted by the EU.
Fishing has proved tricky to tackle for several of Keir Starmer's predecessors. Have a listen to David Cameron's response to the former Danish Prime Minister at a conference in Copenhagen yesterday.
Soon we will see a security agreement between the EU and the UK.
We hope so. As long as they don't get too involved in the fish issue, I think it'll be okay.
The mood at next week's summit is unlikely to be as light-hearted, with so much at stake.
What do you think the impact will be if this agreement carries on as it is?
We'll see a huge sense of betrayal all around the coast if that valuable currency is given away for a third time.
It's not just fishermen with skin in the game. Down the coast in Grimsby, Stephen cooks locally sourced fish at his fine dining restaurant and is concerned about what any deal might offer up.
I would like it to make sure it's great for the UK market, but also that it doesn't increase costs to us on top of all the other costs that we have had increases on. Then I don't want to be passing another increase on to a consumer because the product cost has increased.
From the table, back out to the trawler. Any fishing agreement reached in London next week will ripple out to the coast. It may just turn out to be the start of negotiations. Either way, the British fishing industry feels the tide is against them.